Chapter 6 Valuing Bonds. This is part 2. Following are the objectives of this part. In this part, we'll continue studying the structure of a bond. In the previous part, we saw the meaning of coupon, we saw the meaning of price or the present value for bond, and we saw the meaning of the YTM or the yield to maturity, which is the same as the interest rate for that tenor. In this presentation, we'll see rates of return of a bond, and subsequently we'll see interest rate risk, default risk, and real versus nominal returns in Chapter 6, Part 3. Now let's do another example of bond pricing. Now, Treasury bonds are quoted in 30 seconds rather than decimals. For example, in real life, the bid price of a given bond is quoted as 103.05, and ask price or the offer price or the selling price is quoted as 103.06. How much should the investor pay? If the investor wants to pay, means they want to buy the bond, they should look at the selling price of the bond. The selling price of the bond is 103.06. Now, the price is 103% of the face value plus 630 seconds. And 630 seconds is, let's launch a calculator. So using a calculator, um, 6 divided by 32 is 0.1875. So what we say is it's 103.1875% of the face value. Now, in other words, 1.031875 times $1,000. In other words, it's trading at a price of $1031.875. The face value for bond typically is $1,000, and if it's not $1,000, it's usually mentioned what it is, but by default, the face value is considered to be $1,000. Similarly, can we convert this 103.5 into decimals? Yeah, we can. It is 103 plus 530 seconds of the face value. So 5 divided by 32 is 0.15625 plus 103 is 103.15625% of the face value. So divided by 100 and times 1000. So the investor is willing to buy this, or whoever is giving this bid price is willing to buy this at 1031.5625. Notice that this price, or the bid price, that is this price, is lower than the ask price. The ask price is 1037.875. The bid price is 1031.5625. Now let's calculate how much we can earn on a bond investment. So we can calculate two types of bond yields. The first one is called the current yield, and the second one is called the yield to maturity. We've already known what the yield to maturity is from the previous presentation. In the previous presentation, we saw that the yield to maturity is the rate, that is a discount rate lying in the denominator, that helps us to calculate the present value of the bond, or the price of the bond. So let's do it again. Now the price of the bond is $1,150. Its face value is $1,000. Its coupon is 6% of the face value, which means 6% of 1,000, which is $60. The bond matures in 3 years. So the bond matures in 3 years. What is the current yield of the bond? The current yield is defined as the percent that you would get in terms of coupon as a percent of the price you paid for the bond. So going back to the calculator, you are getting 6%, or divided by 100 or 0.06 times the face value 1,000. So we are getting $60 of coupon. This divided by the price we paid, that's 1150. 1150 times 100 will be the 5.22% approximately the current yield of the bond. Essentially, it is a return on the price I've paid for the bond. It's like a return on investment of the bond. So it's 60 divided by 1150 or 5.22%. Then what is the YTM, or the yield to maturity? Well, remember from the previous presentation, it is this R which is lying inside the denominator of these fractions, same constant R, which leads us to the price of 1150. And in this case, the value of R is 0.91%. Notice how it's different from the current yield, which we saw in the previous slide. Next concept is what is rate of return of a bond. The rate of return, so assume that we hold the bond for 1 year. What are the cash flows of the bond in the 1 year? Well, initially we bought the bond, so we had a negative cash flow. After 1 year, we received the coupon, so we have a positive cash flow. Then when we sell the bond after 1 year, we get money again, so that's also a positive cash flow. So we pay P0 today. Notice that the P0, the price at which we bought the bond, is negative, because that means our cash flow is negative. We received P1 after 1 year, or plus P1, and we received the coupon too, so plus C. So the return on our investment is P1 plus C minus P0. So this is what we gained and this is what we lost. Our investment initially is P0. So the return is what we got as a proportion of what we spent. So what did we get? We got P1 plus C. What did we spend? P0. So P1 plus C minus P0 is our something like a profit, the net return that we made, divided by the initial price we paid times 100. That is called the rate of return. It is like what part of my initial investment am I getting back from that bond through my holding period. So let's do an example. A bond that has a par value of 1000 has a coupon of 5%, which means 5% of 1000. The coupon is $50, has 5 years maturity. Its price today is $975.00. We bought this at this price, sold it after 1 year for $965. So why did we use the par? The only reason why we had par is to get the coupon dollars. So in 1 year, we paid $975 today, received $965 after 1 year, and received a coupon of $50. What is my rate of return? Well, $50 is my coupon I got. $965 is the money I got by selling the bond, and $975 is what I paid by buying the bond. As a percent of my investment, that is $975 is 4.1%. That is a rate of return on the bond. To conclude, bonds are quoted in 30 seconds instead of decimals. We can always convert 2 decimals from 30 seconds. Current yield is a percent of initial investment made by the investor through coupon payments. The yield to maturity is the interest rate at which the cash flows when discounted will give us the present value equal to the price of the bond. Finally, the rate of return is a percent of gain on initial investment made by investor while holding the bond, and it is coupon plus the price at which we sold the bond minus the price at which we bought the bond divided by an investment, or the price at which we bought the bond. That's chapter 6, part 2. Thanks for listening.